people? We are back. A2TP podcast, episode 189, and we are back. It's your boy, International Walt.
It's your girl, Tasha, co-hostess with the most.
And we are back at location. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast Player, FM, are all the places you can catch us if you just type us in. We pop up, talk a little shit to us, comment, like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Let's get right to it. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. Mentally.
What you feeling like?
Mentally, let me think. I'm a 9. Yeah, nothing's wrong necessarily. Just brain thinking, planning. Not necessarily planning. Just thinking about us and things that we got going on. And I guess I'm a 9 because that's probably tied into finances. Finances were an 8, always opportunity to grow. So that's probably where I'm a 9. Not that it's like stressing me or anything, but yeah.
We're going to Jamaica Christmas.
I know that. I know that. I wasn't saying I was stressing about that.
That'll be here in a short fucking time.
Yeah. May have some solutions about that, but we'll talk. Work is a 10. Work is great. No issues came back from work. My team held it down. Nothing like, lingering. So it was good that, all was well. Had a great meeting this week, to give me, some insight into how I'm performing, and it just made me feel good. Every now and then.
At the scale up meeting.
Skip level.
There you go.
Every now and then, you just kind of not necessarily need a pat on the head, but you need that reaffirmation that, like, I see you doing a good job, and like,
TCI, y'all see this? That's people need that sometimes.
Where it's going, yeah. And then physically, I'm a 8.5, y'all. I'll talk more about that because that's one of my woes. But having a little pain, but overall my body, except for one area of it, I feel really great. I've been to the gym 3 days this week. Been trying to eat better because I've realized the nutrition part gotta be stronger than just the physical part. So I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. Didn't eat really bad or crazy on vacation. So that's all good.
Did you not to get all personal, but did you weigh yourself after vacation?
I did.
Still the same, or
the scale is tricky, right? Because I'm gonna just say the reason why I'm gonna say this, right? We came back from vacation, and between Sunday and today, I'm 4 pounds lighter. I know, like, I ain't lose 4 pounds, but Sunday I was like tripping, like, what the hell, like.
Where'd you think it went?
Huh?
Where'd you think it went if you didn't lose it?
No, I mean, I think I was just like still bloated or something like that. I don't know. My body just holds weight differently. I never really feel bloated, like how some people, like women, during that time of the month, they say. I guess I do sometimes in my clothes.
I was ready to say that's a damn lie.
Yeah, in my clothes.
Change 3 goddamn outfits.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily you feel bloated. You feel like, I don't feel comfortable in this. And it's something that, like, it could be pants that you wear all the time, and just that day you're like, blah. Like, they don't feel that good. So maybe that was part of it. But yeah, I gotta break my mind away from the scale, because it can motivate you, which is great, or it can also be a little defeating. And I just got to do what I know to do and allow my body to feel good and know that I'm doing the right thing. So
I've never heard anybody say they 4 pounds lighter and have something negative to say about the scale.
Because it's
usually
like,
they will be like, the scale's my best fucking friend. Oh my God.
Because then you'll say that, and then 2 days later you've been doing all the right things and you're 3 pounds heavier. And it's like, what the freak? Like, come on now. So I don't want it to be defeating, or one day catch you on a bad day, like, this damn scale ain't going nowhere, I might as well eat a damn cookie. Like, I don't want to have that mentality. Like, if you ain't going to work with me, then forget it. Yeah. Like, you're only sabotaging yourself. But that's why I just want to rely on how I feel, how my body feels, how my body is moving, how my clothes fit. I want to let that be my indicator. Yeah, the scale is important, but I know sometimes too, like, I'm doing things that I never really did a lot of before in terms of like the weightlifting component to it. So I don't know whether that's like the tricky part too, where, you know, the cardio is helping lose some of the fat, but then the weightlifting is help gaining muscle, and it's not showing me the results on the scale that I want, but I feel good, you know? So I just want to keep doing the things that I know to do. That's all. Mm-hmm. How are you?
I'm good. Mentally, I feel like I'm a 9. Feel sharp in the head and the brain. Finances is an 8. Always got to leave room for growth there. Work is a 9. Feels good to get back, see the fellas. Mm-hmm. I got back and was only working with one guy because one guy was off for a couple more days, but the whole group is back, and yeah, it feels
the gang's
good
all here
for everybody to be back and see everybody and talk a little shit. So work is a 9. Physically, I feel like a 9. I just want to leave some room for growth. Don't want to overstate it. My body feels good. My body's responding to what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. It's looking different. Feels a little different, but you know, more to come. I'm still grasping it. Wows and woes. Ups, downs, stops and goes.
My whoa. Okay, I don't think I told y'all this. On vacation, I had a little accident on the ATVs that we were riding.
Little accident.
I ran into a rock, right?
One of them rocks that's embedded in the jungle that don't move.
Yeah, it was a pretty big rock. I was trying to go around a ditch, and I'm riding. I'm trying to go, I'm like, boom, and it like hit the rock, but it didn't stop me. Like it bounced off, and I thought I was gonna tilt over, so I was like focusing on keep going and not letting the machine tilt over. Kept going, and then I looked down, and because I felt like this coolness and burning sensation. Y'all probably can't see it because it's healed now. 2 of my fingers were cut, so they were bleeding. Then as I'm going, they started swelling up and like hurting. So I'll get his attention. I'm trying to tell him, like, I thought I broke these 2 fingers, my middle and ring finger. As you notice, I only have 1 ring on right now. I wasn't able to take either of them off at the time. I was now able to get one off, can't get the second one off. So I thought my fingers were broke. Later on, as time went on, I realized, although there wasn't any, it was a little bit of scratches, but didn't bleed, I really hurt my pinky in my hand more than anything. And I wish that it's one of them things, who wants to go to a hospital in a foreign country, right? Like, who wants to go to the hospital at all, but, you know, but let alone a foreign country, Mexico. And I feel like I probably should have went at the time, for them to set it or do whatever needed to be done to help it heal better. It is healing. It does feel better. It's just hurting more than I thought it would 6 days later. So that's just kind of my woe, where it's like, damn, like, I'm usually one I need medical attention. I'm gonna get medical attention. But the thought was, okay, your hand hurt. If they got to set it or something, they might have to give you Novocaine. I'm not fond of like taking medication, you know, in a developing country such as where we were. So that's my woe. My hand is bothering me. I'm trying to ignore it, and the more that I try to ignore certain things, I realize that I can't do. I don't have the strength in it that I need, and it's just bothering me. So that's my woe. On the opposite side, the wow is, I saw a meme today, and I actually posted in my story and said, I'm living the life right now that I dreamed of, that I asked for. Like, I'm receiving the blessings that, you know, I wanted this life, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So having just traveled with my husband, you know, I was thinking today, we had some of these conversations. I remember years ago asking him, like, you know, for my 40th birthday, please, you know, can we travel somewhere? My birthday's in January. I wanted to go somewhere where it was sunshine. And y'all know his situation at that time. We couldn't fly, let alone go out the country. As fate would have it, and God's grace and mercy bestowed upon us, we didn't make it out the country because he had a delay with his passport, but we were able to get on a plane together for the first time. We went to Puerto Rico for my 40th birthday. And just seeing how life has continued to evolve and develop for us since that time. I mean, and before that, we had went to Puerto Rico as well. So I'm sorry, it wasn't the first time, but for my birthday for the first time. life has continued to evolve and just get better for us, for me individually, for him individually, and for us together. And just had one of them like aha moments today that just was a reminder that I am truly, truly grateful for living the life that we have.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good for you to hear that. As a man, as a husband, like that's something that you that's what I take very seriously. Like, what type of life do I provide for you, or do we provide for each other? Are you happy? Like all those things. Like, are we? We got time in front of us. I mean, hopefully a lot, and we're just making memories and living out the things that we talked about, and it does feel good, and it feels even better when you say it, that you are happy in that, and that you recognize that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it does. It's like, wow, like not like I want to let up or anything, but just like makes me want to go harder, because it's like, damn, she do recognize like how what it takes to put things together for us to be places, and the sacrifices you make, the sacrifices I make, that kind of shit.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. I'm just grateful.
Yeah.
What's your wows or woes?
My wow is just getting back to work with the fellas. You off work for a week, but you kind of miss it a little bit. I was in the middle of 2 jobs, so I was anxious to get back to, especially towards the end. Now, if I was in Jamaica, I probably wouldn't have been as anxious to get back, but I was anxious to get back, and it felt good just to see my guys. The woe is just getting back into it, and the brain activity. Like, that's something you got to kickstart, where it's like, all right, I was not using my brain like this for 6 or 7 days, and now I got to kickstart it again. So that's a little bit like, I gotta go to the car, take a break, get my shit together, get my thoughts together. And I don't like a barrage of people coming. Like, I had a meeting yesterday where it was like 5 or 6 people were talking to me at the same time, and it was like, I felt like I wanted to run away. Like, I had an anxiety attack or something. I was like, trying to talk to these 2 ladies, these 3 dudes, and I'm just like looking at everybody, I'm like, I'm about to run. They would have fucking like, what the fuck's wrong with Walt?
No. Wait, did you see this story about the news anchor who had a panic attack? He was a weather guy, and he said, I'm going to have to pass the mic back, because he obviously he had told people in the past about his history with panic attacks, and people were just applauding him on the way that he handled it. The crazy thing is, being on camera, live, talking on camera, is what brings on his panic attacks, which is his chosen career. And it's like one of them things, like, that could happen every single night.
Yeah.
But you know what's, and I'm not saying he did this intentionally. It's almost like, okay, I brought this to everyone's attention, and he garnered like support in talking about it. Like, he had did a story about mental health and panic attacks and anxiety and how it impacts people. So now if his job was to terminate him because of that, like, you can't perform, because every night, the backlash they would get.
Yeah, it's documented.
But I don't think it happens to him. It wasn't in our market. I don't think it happens to him frequently, but it was just the way that, you could see him standing there kind of uncomfortable, and him passing it back to them. And then they circled back at like the end of the broadcast where he was talking. He's like, yes, I'm okay. Thank you for your support. He's like, I'm sorry if I scared anybody. So it makes me think about you, like, maybe in those moments, if you can say to people, I'm sorry, I need to step away for a second, I'll be right back, just to kind of walk away.
They might think he got his shit really bad. Because nobody immediately is going to think he's probably having a panic attack.
Well, would you be comfortable in saying, like, I'm experiencing a little anxiety, I need to step away for a moment, and I'll be right back?
I wouldn't have no problem saying that, but I think I would just walk off before that happened.
That would be even more weird.
I think it would make me stammer or something, and like, I would just better off just walking away.
I think
I could probably get excuse me out. Like, excuse me. Or like pull my phone out, like, excuse me, I have to take this. And go up the hallway, like, get the fuck, get under the air vent.
Yeah.
Go get something to drink. But I was like panicking, like, wow, like I ain't had this many people in my face in a week or so. So
I was gonna say, do you think it's something that would be recurring, or just because you were just your system was reacclimating?
Because I could feel like the reacclimation, like I had to like work and put my tools on, and it was like, I don't like this, like the way this feels right now, like on my body, like this feels abnormal.
Yeah, I signed up to I expressed interest and received some information back. You ever heard of Toastmasters International?
Mm-mm.
It's an international club that all different companies, and there's different branches. I was part of it when I worked at my previous organization. I didn't even know my current job has it, and I've been there 6.5 years. It's basically an organization that is geared towards helping people with public speaking. And not that I have a problem. Like, I'm not nervous when it comes to public speaking, but I do feel that I can improve with not stammering, not stuttering. Sometimes I feel like my mind is like reaching for words, especially if I'm freestyling and I don't have like a prepared presentation. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited. It's all virtual, of course, because people in our company work all over the place. But I'm excited. I probably won't be able to join every meeting because it's every Wednesday except the first Wednesday of the month. So my schedule is so random, but I'm looking forward to and I'll be able to share with you.
So what's the like, you just get tips, or do you speak on Zoom in front of 100 people?
So I don't know how this is going to work because again, I haven't joined yet. And from my previous experience, it was in person. And what it would do would give you a random topic to talk about. So something in the room, and you would start the conversation, and then you would pass it off to the next person, and they would have to continue like you're telling a story. So if we were sitting here talking and I said, Walter went to work today, and when he came home from work, he put on a gray shirt. Now, right there, that would be feedback because I said, so that's a very integral part about it. You get feedback from people on, how you did. And for those people who do have issues with speaking publicly, of course, that will help them to, since you're in a smaller setting, it will help them. For me, again, that's not necessarily my fear. I just want to be able to speak clearly, not stammer, because I don't have a stutter, but I do recognize, like you say, sometimes I over enunciate because I'm trying not to stammer or stutter, and then if I don't, I feel like my lips get in the way.
It's a muscle though that you have to like tap into. It's definitely a muscle.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about the words that you're searching for, then you're already like your sip is sinking.
Yes.
Like you're drowning in the water a little bit. You got to just be up there, not freestyling, but it's just flowing. Like you're not even like what you're doing is the only thing you're thinking about, and you know it so well that it's just like pouring out you.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that, but it makes me think about you. Not that you have an issue with public speaking either, but that anxiety piece, it may help you to, I don't know, like it may give some tips or tricks on how you can kind of calm that down when you are speaking in front of people.
And it was crazy because when I actually went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I had all the answers, but it was like I'm not ready to say them all right now. Like I need a minute. I need a minute. Everybody left satisfied, but it was like not whatever time it was, 11:03. Like not right now. Maybe at 11:10. I can't do it right now. I can get it out at 11:10. Moving on. It takes $106,500 right now to be a single person and own a home in the United States.
Wow.
Compared to 2020, where it only took $59,000. That's an 80% increase.
I'm not surprised though. I've recently seen something that
talk
said,
about inflation. What the fuck? Like
I've recently seen something that said it's crazy how secretaries and sanitation workers were able to afford homes, 10 years ago, where now somebody said now they want you to be the CEO of Google to be able to buy a house.
So I mean, our salaries went up. You got raises over the past 5-6 years. I got raises over the past, over the same amount of time. Like what happened where 80%, where if I was making $60,000 a year, I could buy a home. Now I need to make $107,000 a year.
I think part of the problem too is, well,
Did houses just go up that much?
how I think the economy, houses went up, and whenever there's like a boom, this whole industrialization of certain areas, like you go to Philadelphia, you drive down Delaware Avenue, it's so much construction going on of, I mean, there are apartment buildings, so it's not like necessarily houses, but just the housing market itself is so high. And you have to think about rental. If somebody's renting a house, how much they're going to have to rent it for in order to pay the mortgage. Like,
right.
It's just the cost of living. One of the problems with companies is that while people get merit increases and performance-based increases, a lot of companies aren't giving cost of living increases.
But they're usually smaller. Like, and not to cut you off, but in my company, cost of living increases have always been the smallest raise. You look at that, and it would be 50 cents, 60 cents, 75 cents, 35 cents. Your performance raise was the $4 or $5 raises, where that's what you was looking forward to. It didn't. It seemed like if you got 60 cents in your check, that was an extra $80 for the year or something. But
we need to ask the question: how are y'all as organizations assessing that this additional 60 cents per hour is helping me balance out the cost of living? Where are y'all getting this number from? There needs to be some deeper dive, some cost analysis of what it costs to live. And I know, like, for my organization, they based it off of the corporate office and what the cost of living is in that metropolitan area.
Okay.
Right. Whereas somebody who lived in a different area so you can live in the same area, work in two different companies, do the same exact thing. Of course, your salaries can be different based on how they assess what the cost of living is. But as that number increases, when are companies going to get in touch and say, hey, like these 60 cents, 50 cents, that isn't doing it anymore. And again, I haven't had a job where we got a cost of living raise. We just always get an annual performance base. But at this point, it's like, okay, forget the performance base. That's all well and good. We need an overhaul of salaries. But I guess the problem with that is too that companies need to think about, what about when inflation reverses, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't come back and take your money back. So then what does that look like? And I get it.
It looks like people are making a living. Everybody's happy. That's what it looks like. It looks like you got happy workers. You got people who want to come to work. That's what it looks like. That's what it should feel like, because everybody would be making a living and not stressing and not worried about shit that they worry about every day.
And you know what? It becomes it's one of those things where I think people as a whole have to assess their lifestyle. Like, one of the things you always say is, we live a certain lifestyle. And at some point, some people are going to have to determine, like, you know what, this lifestyle that we live, we might have to take a couple steps back in order to stay afloat, or more than just stay afloat, in order to get ahead. Because maintaining that lifestyle can drown you. Like, and we talked about this before, being willing to make a sacrifice. Like, God forbid if something, if it was a financial need, like, I'm willing to sacrifice. Like, we can go back to living in a 2-bedroom apartment, driving, an F-150, or catching public transportation if needed, if it meant staying afloat and not drowning to maintain a lifestyle. Like, that isn't important to me. And I think some people, like you said, they don't understand the importance of sacrifice, whether it's a pride thing, whether it's just, knowing how. Like, I can imagine, you create a lifestyle for yourself, and it's like, you know what, I need to move from, this 5-bedroom house and downsize to a 3-bedroom. The idea of downsizing can seem defeating to people, when really it's such a responsible decision. Recently, there was some conversation, somebody, influencer had posted about people who are afraid to go back home if you can. Now, I'm not talking about somebody.
Your parents' house?
Yeah, I'm talking about somebody, in your 20s, 30s, and if your parents offer you that option, and I'm not talking about going back home with a family, but if you have a family and they, you have to make that sacrifice, then so be it. But the pride and ego that comes with that, you have to be able to set that aside to say, you know what, this is going to help me. I got to take these 3 steps backwards to take 10 steps forward. But not a lot of people are willing to do that. And what's the end? Like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel with this inflation and the cost of living? Like, you talking about the divide between the have and the have-nots, or the rich and the poor. There will be no middle class, and what was known as middle class will be lower class, because the divide is getting bigger.
Yeah, like people who making over $50,000-$60,000 will be considered poor.
Hell yeah.
And it's like that used to be the middle class.
A great salary.
There was people out there who was making $13,000, $18,000 a year. Like, that was considered poor. But now $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 is like, you can't really move around the way you want to. You're going to be paying rent somewhere at a minimum of $1,500 to $2,000.
I remember in 2002, I had started working at a company, and I was a temp, and then I got hired permanently in 2003. And this was 2003, so we're talking 11 years ago. 21 years ago. Sorry. My salary was around like $27,000 and some change. We were so excited. Like, that was good money at that time.
And that's not a long. And I was 21 years ago.
I was 22 years old.
That's not a long time.
No,
it's not a long time.
$27,000, and like, we was living good. Like, I mean, of course, you were making much more than me at that, probably double than me at that time. But we were living. That helped us to be able to live a good, comfortable life at that time. Like, we wasn't balling out, but we were enjoying life, eating dinners, doing the things that we wanted to do. And just think, here we are 21 years later, and it's like $27,000. Like, my niece, she's 16, has her first job. She might make 27. I mean, well, probably not, because she works part-time. But I'm just saying that amount of money, you think as an adult?
You can't move around. You can't do anything.
As an adult.
Where are you going to stay, in what place that ain't bad for you, where rent will be over $1,000 or under $1,000?
Right. And let's not add children into the equation. That completely changes.
And grow and need clothes and transportation and daycare and shit like that. And you can have some assistance from the state, welfare and WIC and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't put you ahead.
Right.
It just helps you out. It doesn't put you ahead. Like, you're still in survival mode.
Yeah. It's spooky. It's spooky. And to think, like you said, 59,000 compared to now $106,000.
And we're talking 4 years ago. That was in 2020. Just 4 years.
I think too, like with COVID and all of the changes that happened, the interest rates with housing. Like, I don't understand all the specific details about it, but I know there has been like a big change where now it's like any financial decisions that you want to make, it can hugely impact your life. Like, for the most part, I know someone who is so saddened about not being able to buy a house because they were in the process of looking for a home early 2020. COVID hit, people stopped showing houses, so they kind of had to stop the process. And the very same houses they were looking at, that they were expressing interest in, are completely out of the financial range for them to be able to afford now.
Right.
And they're like so disappointed by it because it's like they feel stuck. Like, I can't afford anything, and they make pretty good money. So I mean,
damn,
yeah,
like you missed your shot because
exactly.
of a fucking pandemic that raised everything. It's just crazy to think things have doubled and tripled, and like like I said, we've gotten raises and things that went along and but it hasn't been enough. It hasn't been enough, and what's going to change for companies to be like, hey, we need to make things even, because even our executives, even our higher workers, guys who have big salaries, all the women who have big salaries, they can't make it. Yeah, that's crazy. You asked this question earlier. What morals have changed for you? And I don't know if you wanted to word it that way, but what did you mean by that? Like something you stood on in the past and then don't stand on now?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily morals per se, but just things that you may have thought or believed, or your way of thinking, things about yourself that may have changed. Like for me, one of the things that that has changed, and this isn't a moral thing, but I guess more of a personality or characteristic, my need to be in control of things. Like, and but it's almost to the point where it's changed so much that I have no desire. Like I think about, I used to be like the party planner, like whether it was for my family, for my friends, or the event planner, like let's do this, and I would be planning. And now it's like like not only do I not have any interest, or no, I don't have the desire to be in control. I have no interest in planning things. It's like, so it's kind of like one of those conversations that I'll have with friends, like, yeah, let's get together. Let me know when you're free or available. And it's like, please don't wait for me, because I'm not that girl no more. Like I'm just, the only thing that I look forward to planning is my annual Friendsmas thing that I do with my friends, because it's like one thing a year. Even for my birthday, when people are like, oh, what are you doing for your birthday? I just want to travel with my husband. If my friends or my sisters are able to come along, depending on the situation. But like, I don't like planning a party or planning like events or being the one to orchestrate details of things. It's like I'm a willing participant if I want to, but that part of me has, and it's one of the things where it's like, whoo, why didn't I know this before? Because it's a sense of peace that comes with it, of not having to be in control, of not having to be the point person, of not having to orchestrate. The sad part about it is a lot of things don't happen that used to happen, whether it's like with my family, or, I may not see friends as often. And it is what it is, but yeah, I'm just that. So that for me.
Who used to nag on you for that all the time?
You did. Like, why you always gotta be the orchestrator? Why you always gotta be playing?
Because I used to think like they think you the flunky, and not like they did, but that's just how in my head I used to think like that. They think she the flunky, like she gonna do everything. Like, why don't they do something? Like, it ain't that hard of work for them to call some restaurants or make some reservations. Like, why you always putting it on her?
I think part of it was just my personality and wanting to do
right.
it. And it was also that control where I felt like if I didn't do it, it wouldn't be done right.
And you're going to show up in some place you don't want to eat.
Yeah. Or
you don't want to spend
details,
no money there.
Exactly. And I think, like, so that was, I blame myself for that.
This ain't no place to take no pictures.
Exactly. I blame myself for that. But yeah, now the piece that I feel is like, nah, I trust your decision. Or if I don't, I won't attend. But that part of me has changed as well. And just a second thing, me saying that I used to have a hard time with telling people that I couldn't come to things. Like, I just didn't want to. Yes.
Wow, this is like eye-opening.
Yeah, I just didn't want to like disappoint people. Or it would be like not a lie. But no, it wouldn't necessarily be a lie, but I would feel like I needed an excuse. But now it's like, I'm not going to be able to make it. And that's okay. Like, that's it. That's enough. That's okay. And for me, it just may be that I don't feel like it. I may not like the location.
But you're grown. You're a grown-ass woman. You're Mrs. D's. Like, nobody's going to say, well, why?
No, like, I know that. I know nobody's going to ask that. But I always felt like I owed somebody, if it was somebody I cared about.
Right.
But now so that for myself, again, it's like,
I used to tell you that
the
too,
sense
like,
of peace. Yeah, but it took for me to have to feel that, and the sense of peace that I have, like, with myself in that, and just saying, no, have a great time. I'm not gonna be able to make it, or no, I'm not gonna participate in that, or no, I don't want to do that, or it's not something I'm interested in. And it wasn't necessarily like, I think about recently there was a Trey Songz concert, and my sister was like, oh, you want to come? And it was like, no, like, it'll probably be a good time, but it's not really something I want to do. I don't really know Trey Songz music like that, where before I may have wanted to go just to go, and then it'd been like, money spent where I didn't have to spend it, and I'm just more at peace with no. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you?
I would think the desire to be right. I used to have a real inside a burning desire to be right. Like, I always want to be on the right side of things because I've been on the wrong side of things for so long. So I always want to be on the right side of things, and strategically, whatever I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it for a reason. If I'm talking about something, it's for a reason. If I'm saying something, it's not like it's the gospel, but it's one of them things like I tried it and it works.
Okay.
Like that. So my desire to be right. Like now, I don't really care about being right. I don't really care to
argue
my point at all. Now, if we're having a discussion or a debate about something, then yeah, I can argue my points. And I don't even want to use the word argue. I can get my points out without having it be an argument. But I don't like, because we used to get into arguments at work daily just about dumb shit, and it was like arguing your point is pointless.
Right.
Like, people are going to think what they think and act how they want to act. So yeah, my desire to be right, I would think I don't give a shit about no more. And morals, I think I'm still more of a traditionalist when it comes to opposite sex relations. So I'm still more of that, but I think my mind has opened a lot more, throughout our marriage as far as that. So I would think, just if for the lack of a better term, is that with the what do you call a party? The L one.
The libertarian.
Yeah.
More liberal.
Yeah. More liberal.
You know what? And I think the same word. That's probably where we work. Where part of the control piece, like I used to feel like I had to do like the housework and the laundry and everything, because if I didn't do it, well, a couple things. If I didn't do it, it wouldn't be done right. Or I also didn't want it to, I felt like as a woman, that was my responsibility. Well, baby, I had to talk with myself and say, you know what? Your husband go to work and he worked really hard. You go to work and you work really hard. And you cook food. And you do the laundry. And you clean the house. And not to say he wouldn't do other things, but it was like, what's wrong with him helping? And he wants to. And it's not a knock on you. He doesn't look negatively at you or like you're less of a woman or not a good wife because he cleaned the bathroom instead of you. Like, you're still doing other things. And it took a while. Like, that control piece and being able to say, no, I still do the laundry. I don't
even want to ask to do that.
Yeah, I like the way I do the laundry. but
it's like,
I'm okay with him cleaning. Like, and before, like, you would pick up the broom and I'd be like, I got it. Yeah. And it wasn't like I thought you couldn't sweep, but it was like,
get mad if I was like,
yeah, because it was like, oh my God, he going to look at me like, he's sweeping, why didn't I sweep? And then it was like, why are you projecting onto him? You don't know what he's thinking. Like, he's not thinking you're a bad person because you didn't sweep. Let him sweep the floor. It's his floor
I'm
too.
Thinking you got 15 things to do today. Let me fucking take a few of them off your plate so they all get done. Like, I want to clean house too.
Absolutely. And
I ain't looking at you like, ew, this fucking nasty bitch needs to be sweeping. Like, no, I'm like, let me help her out. I'm sitting here smoking weed.
Yeah. So I'm able to relish in that, and I love it. I love the just the compromise. It's not even compromise. I just love the partnership that we have in that. It makes for good living.
It does.
Talking about, you talked about, not wanting to be right. There's always conversations and dialogues and sometimes disputes on social media. So recently there was a conversation that came up. I read about it and then I realized, I heard other people having the same conversation. Long story short, a husband didn't go to his daughter's birthday party because his baby mom said that his wife was not invited. So I think it was like the 10th birthday. And again, the baby mom has a relationship with the daughter the wife has a relationship with the daughter because, she comes to the house, she's she's the stepmom. But the baby mom said the wife was not invited to the birthday party. So question, and I know the answer to this, but, give us some meat and potatoes to it. I know that in that circumstance, had it been us, and you have a daughter who has a mom, and we haven't encountered these situations, not that I'm aware of, But like you going to her graduation or you going to her prom send off, and I didn't attend those things because there's a boundary that I respect, and that's just that. But it was no conversation to say that I wasn't invited. It was a decision that, not even the decision that we made. It was just an understanding that we had. Like, enjoy, have a good time. So I know that you would not have gone or attended if it was verbally stated that I wasn't invited. But why is it that you feel that? Why do you agree with the husband?
Because it's your spouse. Like your daughter. Okay, like you had her, so you love her, and she loves you, and your spouse is somebody that you picked to love and walk through life with. So y'all become one if you're married. If it's your girl, you call it what you want. But if you're married and that's your wife, y'all become one, and you got to be down for each other. Like it's you got to represent for each other. You got to walk as a unit, stand as a unit. And if you telling me that my wife is not invited to something, then fuck your party. I don't give a shit if it's for my daughter or not. We'll have a separate party. But the fact that you disrespect it like that, I'm going to remember that. But there's no fucking way I'm going to anything. I don't give a shit who it's for. If it's verbally, it's verbally said, hey, your wife's not invited. I'm not asking why. I'm going to be like, okay. Like, and I ain't showing the fuck up. Like, you won't see me there. But that's crazy. And I've heard it argued from the other point where a guy, because I like to hear everybody's perspective, and a guy was like, hey, it should be an understanding if the baby mom and the new wife aren't on the same page, or it can just be an awkward situation. You don't want to make the birthday party awkward, so the wife would stay home. But that's a decision me and my wife would make. As
then you
a whole,
saying that she can't
but
come.
if you verbally say as my baby mom, oh yeah, we having a party on the 16th for such and such, and just to let you know, you the only one invited. Like, nah. Hell no, I ain't fucking going.
Yeah, and I mean, and I feel like that. Like I even outside of like a baby mom situation, like if someone is having like a formal event and like I'm invited. Now it's different if it's like a girl's thing, right? But if it's like, no plus ones are included, I'm no, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to just automatically assume and bring my husband, because I know people pay for plates like it costs. Mm-hmm. But if it's a situation like if I ask,
we can pay for whatever plate we want.
Yeah, if I ask and it's like, I only you are invited, then I'm probably going to sit that one. I'm not probably, but
I don't even want to go anywhere where you're not invited.
Yeah, I'm going to sit that out. And don't get me wrong, my husband might not even want to come. More than likely, he probably won't want to come unless it's very few people that he would be like, yeah, I'll attend. But if he does come, it's because I want him to. But to say that he's not invited, I'm probably just going to sit that out. Like, and again, I keep saying probably. I am going to sit it out.
How would you handle that? Let's just say not a close friend like Toya. I'm going to say ancillary, but just not like your closest
Just another friend, okay.
Yeah, another friend had said something like, I'm having this event. It's not really a girl's thing, but I don't really know your husband. I've never been introduced to him before, and he's not invited.
Okay, thank you for the invite. I won't be.
Oh, so you would handle it in the like on the high road. You wouldn't be like,
yeah.
You mean like,
nah,
like,
I'm not going.
How dare you invite me and not invite who?
Absolutely not. I'm not going. Okay. Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be attending, and that's that. I mean, again, I respect people's money, their time, whatever. So I wouldn't say that I'm going to attend and not show up and somebody pays for a plate. But if you're letting me know up front, especially anybody in my life who they know how I feel about you. So to be like, well, yeah, it's not really a girl's thing. So you mean to tell me I'm going to show up, and other people may be with their spouses, or, or other halves, but my husband isn't invited, but you're inviting me, then yeah, I'm going to sit that one out.
Yeah. I think it's total disrespect. Yeah. Because if it's not specifically a man thing or a girl's thing,
right,
then yeah, it's total disrespect. You say I'm having an event and your wife isn't invited or your husband isn't invited. And it's definitely disrespect when a baby mom is doing some shit like that. Yeah. Like, there's no other way to slice that pie. But we're throwing a party. You know that my daughter has interaction with you because that's his wife. But I'm letting you know you're not invited. Yeah, like, nah. That's
and
crazy.
it's different too when you're talking about the level of event. Cause like let's think about a wedding, right? If you knew that like I think about your brother, right? Your older brother when we had our wedding, and I don't know if him and his now wife were in a relationship at that time. But I didn't know of her when we got married, so his invitation didn't include a +1. It was no disrespect to her, but it was like, you know what I mean? So it's different if somebody has a girlfriend and it's like, I don't even know them or know of them, and then I'm not just arbitrarily sending out an invite with a random +1 because I don't know who that person may be. Now, if it's like you're in a long-term relationship and I know, then it's different. But, you know, so it's different levels of events because when you're talking about a wedding and you're talking about an intimate space, who do you want in your space? Who do you want to pay money for? Most, yeah. Right. So, you know, it's different.
Not a stranger where you like, who is this person? Or like this person ain't gonna be around the next few weeks.
Yeah, or you got a girlfriend and it's like, this chick got a new boyfriend every month and I don't know who she about to bring up in here. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's different depending on, you know, who that person is, who they're in a relationship. But in that situation with the baby mom and the daughter and the wife, like, you know, she has a relationship. Obviously, there must be some tension for her to just outwardly state that. And like you said, there may have been an agreement between the husband and wife to say, like, you know, you go ahead and have a good time. I'm not going to come. But once you overtly omit the other partner, then yeah, we're gonna have our own party and we're gonna make it bigger and better. Matter of fact, we might end up like taking her to Disney World or something.
Yeah, like fuck your party. Like, we're gonna do something that take a big dump on your party just because I feel like you took a dump on my spouse.
Yeah, we about to really pop
like I said, I'm not gonna forget that. Yeah. So when she come over or when he come over, we out. And we're gonna send pictures back from another country or some shit.
This reminds me.
Saying happy birthday in a different language.
This reminds me of you know, some sort of toxic situation that we may have seen on a 80s or 90s talk show. And with that being said, rest in peace to Phil Donahue.
Yeah.
Passed away, 88 years old. To be completely honest, we thought he had already passed away some years ago. No disrespect to his family. He had just been off the radar. And he's one of them people you never heard like anything about him, his family, his kids, his grandkids. I guess they stayed out of the media.
There's been no Sam Donahue, no fucking you know, Alice Donahue, like no son, no daughter, no nothing.
Yeah, you never really heard anything, and it was like he kind of faded away. You know, maybe he may have just been chilling.
And when you said when we were young, he was 58. That was 30
Well,
years.
he just died and he was 88.
Right.
So you talk about 30 years ago. Yeah, like 40 years ago.
40 years ago, because he was in the 80s and the 90s. So yeah, that's crazy to think that he was 48 years old and he had all white hair. He looked like he was 65 back then.
Yeah. I never remember seeing him with like salt and pepper hair. Definitely not dark hair.
Did you watch the Phil Donahue show?
I did. I definitely did. I don't remember it as vividly as I remember Oprah. Like, we regularly watch the Oprah show in our house. I don't think we ever missed an episode. Phil Donahue, I was younger, but I do remember watching him. Sally Jesse Raphael, Rolanda.
Remember when we met, you were surprised I watched Oprah?
I was surprised you were as big of an Oprah fan as you were. Yeah. We both
watched it religiously. Yeah,
we both were. And I was very surprised.
Aside from Oprah, what was your favorite talk show?
I was a big Ricky Lake fan.
Okay, Ricky Lake was dope.
Yeah, I was a big Ricky Lake fan. Ricky Lake was dope. When the Tyra Banks show came on, I mean, that was later in like the 90s, right? Tyra Banks, she had a good show. That was pretty good. But I'm thinking, yeah, Ricky Lake is the one I can. That was nighttime, no art, but Arsenio Hall was dope. You always wanted to see who was the artist going to be on Arsenio Hall, but you know.
What's his name?
Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio.
Yeah, well, you say
Arsenio Hall. Say it again.
Arsenio Hall.
No, move your mouth and say it.
It's Arsenio Hall. You say Arsenio?
That's his name, Arsenio Hall.
He said, Arsenio.
That was when that stuff. Who,
yes.
White people used to be like, who.
Yep.
Like,
But I always thought it was Arsenio. Yeah, but yes, rest in peace to Phil Donahue and his family. 88 years old. Nowadays, it's like you just...
Everything is too young.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. 88 years old is a good run, but it's still too young.
Yeah.
It's still too young. I mean, you 2 years away from 90, so it's like you had a full life. And especially when you talk about Phil Donahue, you had a full life. But still, man, 88 is too young.
It is.
It's too fucking young. Like, give me 20 more years. Give me 20 more years.
20 more.
If I'm functional and I'm okay.
I mean, I'll take it.
Years. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, being healthy, chilling, ain't in nobody way, give me 20 more years.
I'll take it.
Man.
Like you said, especially if I'm functional, like nobody has to feed me or wipe my butt or none of that.
If I can cede my car keys,
yeah,
I can take them, drive me around. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, just let me chill. I don't want too much. I don't need too much. 3 grams?
Yep.
First question. Would you bus driver arrested for beating up that boy.
Yeah. So when I first saw this story, I thought to myself, you know what? These young people were saying he was a kid. He looked like a young man to me. I don't know his age.
No older than 19.
Yeah. I would say no older than 21 because he was tall. But yeah,
he could be your kid.
I would say between 16 and 21.
Right.
Is how he looked. But I don't know what his age was. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, these youngins, they're going to stop disrespecting the old heads. You never know who you're going to encounter. You never know what the repercussions are going to be. And you're going to run into the wrong one like he appeared to have done in this situation. However, I read some comments and I realized the bus driver was completely wrong and overreacted in this case. This is what was stated to have happened. Now I don't know, he may have popped off a little bit at the bus driver, but he got on the bus, he didn't have any money, and an older lady towards the back of the bus had agreed to pay his fare for him. So he was going to the back of the bus to get it. The bus driver was popping off basically, I think the bus driver wanted him to show more respect, maybe explain look, the lady back there has the money, I'm going to go get it. He didn't do that. He just walked to the back of the bus to get it. So the bus driver got up, got in his face, thinking he was just trying to go on the bus and ignore him. As they were talking, because the bus driver was so close to his face and them talking, you talking and spit come out your mouth, and the bus driver said oh, you spit on me. But from what it was stated that, which is the reason why the bus driver got arrested, because the old lady on the bus explained to the police what happened, that the boy was coming to get the car fare that the old lady agreed to pay for him. The bus driver got in his face thinking he was just trying to get on the bus and not pay. And as he was up in his face, him talking, spit came out. And the boy didn't back down when the bus driver was being aggressive with him. So that's why it kind of escalated. I think it could have been handled.
You didn't outright spit on him.
Per the other passengers on the bus, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, I think the bus driver was just having a bad day. And again, he probably not excusing him. He's probably used to these youngins being disrespectful.
Yeah, how many young kids get on the bus and walk past him and might say, fuck you, bitch ass old head.
Yeah.
Faggot ass bus driver.
And again, I think about this from the standpoint of the young man. Probably his ego embarrassed to say, excuse me, Mr. Driver, I'm going to go in the back. This old lady agreed to pay for the car fare for me. So I'm going to, and I'll be right. That ego thing, ego and pride, like you told me before, when it comes to men, can create havoc.
Yeah.
I think the ego and pride on both ends. The boy, embarrassed, prideful, didn't want to say he's going to get money from an old lady. The man feeling like you disrespecting me and just walking past without giving me some explanation. And it just clashed and turned out bad for the young man.
It turned out very bad for him.
Yeah.
Because initially I thought he spit on him, which would warrant
what was
that
reported,
type of ass whooping. Yeah, I mean, you're right. He probably had a bad day. He probably just, I'm sick of these young kids. And like you said, the kid was popping off too, so it might have been some
Yeah,
fuck
he
you,
didn't
some
back
fuck yous
down.
back. You know, I'll whoop your ass. You ain't gonna do shit, like that kind of stuff. And once he told them people to move to the back, I mean, he put it on that kid. Like, put it on his
He gave
ass.
him a 2-piece, and then you seen the guy like grab his face at first, and then I think like he just couldn't get his bearings.
This motherfucker hit like an ox. Like, his old head hit like an ox.
Yeah, he couldn't get his
like,
bearings.
Damn, and then he choked them out, threw them on the ground. And that's the thing, them old heads, when they get into fights, they eliminate the threat. They're not thinking about going too far. They're halfway gonna kill you if you keep moving around and flopping like a fish.
Yeah.
But if you lay there, they'll get up off your ass. But they're gonna put you down and make sure that you're not gonna hurt them and threaten them no more.
And he had a pass, because you heard him say, you don't know who you dealing with. I'm a killer. Like, he let it be known. But what I'm wondering, I know, like, was that in New Jersey?
Yeah, it was in
I
Newark.
think, okay. Unlike Pennsylvania, New Jersey Transit is a state job. Like, so you have SEPTA and like the Philadelphia, Southeastern Pennsylvania region. But in New Jersey Transit is statewide, and that's a state job. So it's a government job. But, you know, they also have a union and all that. So I wonder.
It's illegal to put your hands on them, too. It's signs on there that say that.
But the guy put his hands on him first, though.
Yeah. Allegedly. Because he said, you spit on me.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you got witnesses on the bus that said that didn't happen.
Fuck the witnesses, you got cameras.
But I wonder, though, will, like, you know, the union protect his job to, like, maybe say he'll do anger management? Or is it beyond that where it's like now it's an assault and it's...
Yeah, because it's almost... I know what they probably going to say. They're probably going to say you're a threat to the public now. The riders won't feel safe with you on the bus if you're doing this to
or they might feel even more safe.
Some people will. That'll be a split thing, because it'll be like, hey, leave them on here. These young kids pop off. He gonna whoop some ass. I ain't popping off at him, so I ain't got no reason to worry about him. He just driving the bus.
And he was very respectful. He asked the ladies and gentlemen to please. He wanted to make sure no innocent bystanders were hurt. He was very respectful and guided them. He waited until they were out of harm's way. And the young man stood there and waited for that 2-piece.
That man threw like 13 solid punches, and he landed every last one of them.
Yeah.
Every last. And the last 8 he landed with dude on his back on the ground. So you know all of them hit. And he probably was knocking them out and waking them up, and knocking them out and waking them up. But he made sure, like, after choking them and punching them, like, all right, you ain't gonna get up and hit me. Like, you ain't no threat no more.
And maybe it's the empathetic part of me where they said that the young man, he was coming from work. He had a warehouse job in the area. He was coming from work, and he just, you know, he didn't have enough money. You gotta treat everybody
with kindness, man. Like, even if wherever you work, whatever bad day you had, like, try to treat people with kindness, because you never know. It could have went bad. It did go bad for the young man, but these young kids carry guns, and it could have went bad for the old head, because that kid could have been one of these kids that'll air that whole fucking bus out.
Yep.
And then it got 4 or 5 people shot because this kid then shot the damn bus up in Newark. So it you know, you gotta just lead with kindness.
Yeah.
Be kind to people. And it's a bus fare. Like, I ain't tripping. And I get the disrespect walking past me like I'm not the fucking bus driver, like I'm not a sign of authority. I get that. But you talking about a fucking kid. Like, give him a pass.
Yeah.
Give him a pass. You got to pick one. So for the rest of your life, would you rather have good food or good sex?
Good sex.
So no more good meals the rest of your life. Every meal you eat will be not good for the rest of your life.
Will it be not good or just not?
Not good. So no more good meals.
But then if I have good food, then I'm not going to have good sex?
Yes.
No, I'm going to take the good sex.
For the rest of your life?
Yeah, I mean, because I won't die. I mean, I can eat bread and water and still live.
No, you can eat what you want. You're just not going to have the good food.
So yeah, I might
more
just
pizza, no more French fries,
just maybe
no
peanut butter. Yeah, I won't die. I mean, I'll eat some fruits
no more
and
fancy
vegetables.
restaurants, no more fish.
I'm taking your good sex over that good food, baby. 10 out of 10. Yep.
I was thinking that you would take the food.
Absolutely not. Really?
Yeah.
You think I'm some greedy heifer?
No, not greedy, but for the rest of your life, you're never gonna eat another good meal? Like, nothing?
I would rather sacrifice that than to think for the rest of my life I would never have good sex. And you know, our level of
But what if
intimacy
you was
runs
having
so much deeper than just sex. But to think that we would never have good sex again.
what if we had like a lot of mediocre sex? Because we knew it wasn't good, so we did it like a lot. Because it was like, we got to make up for it. Or you get good food, but just okay sex.
No.
But no more rockets and bursting and stars and no more fireworks.
No, I want the fireworks. I want the fireworks, baby. Set it off.
What
would you take?
I would take the sex.
No, you probably said good food.
No, I would take the sex.
Okay.
I would get fat. Eating fucking food and not. Yeah, I would take the sex.
Okay. 6 months ago, what would you have said?
The sex.
Okay.
Always the sex.
Okay.
Yeah. Where am I going? Topanga.
Topanga from Boy Meets World?
Got breast cancer.
Aw. That's sad to hear. I hope, when I hear about...
I seen her, like, she's like your age, but she's still pretty. Still very
You said, like, people my age wouldn't still be pretty.
No, I'm just saying, we know her from Boy Meets World, and it seemed like a lifetime ago. I'm just saying, she was a little fucking girl on there. Like, she's
I forget her name was Danielle something.
Yeah, but she's, grown. She's still gorgeous.
Always had beautiful, thick, luxurious hair. That's what I remember about her. Prayers for her and her recovery. Hopefully she has supportive family, friends, whomever, to circle around her to give her support. Nowadays, the good part about breast cancer, that sounds so crazy, but the good part about it is it doesn't always mean a death sentence like it would have, years ago. So, hopefully she has that support and she gets the care and treatment. We know recently Shannon Daugherty Daughtry died from breast cancer, but we also know Christina Applegate is a survivor, so it can go either way, but I hope that she has the support and care around her that she gets to ring a bell if she's in treatment and to tell her story 20 years from now.
Yeah, it just takes you back to yesterday, like little fucking girl. I was a little boy watching it, like, and then you get grown and it's like life just happens to people. And just thank God, man. Thank the fucking Lord. But shouts out to Topanga, her family. Hope you get through whatever you're going through. That's a wrap. A2TP Podcast, episode 189. Again, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast Player, FM. Catch us on those platforms. Type us in. Faces pop up. Connect. Comment. Talk some shit. Subscribe. Like. Share. Do all that good stuff. Fuck with us. If you don't fuck with us, you should. Peace.
You forgot me.
Oh, you had something?